Okay, so I'm going to do the clap. 3, 2, 1. Okay.
I think we need to explain to the audience what just happened here, honestly. Because, guys, we're still in our pajamas. I have slept over at Megan's. This should happen like once a week. And we've tried to set up the cameras and the recording system so that we're still in our pajamas and comfortable on the sofa and recording an episode. So hopefully this will become a thing.
A thing. But I wanted to point out, especially for those of you who are watching on video, Donna's Grinch hoodie, which she put on last night, and I just about peed my pants because I love it so much.
Isn't it great?
Yes.
I had to.
And I'm not a Grinch, but I feel like it's just such a good shirt.
Isn't
like,
it great?
Whoever
it's
did
just
that.
The eyes. I mean, like, guys, go to the video, go on YouTube, check it out. I'm very proud of it. It was in the kids section of like H&M or CNA, and I had to have it. So I went and bought the biggest size they had. And it works, and I love it, and it's my thing. And then, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Right, we babbled on. We said we'll keep it short, and we babbled on already.
So we're trying a new format, obviously because we're in person and talking with each other, but we're also trying a new format because Donna and I are really interested in keeping this podcast going and doing different episodes and doing things that interest us. And one of the things we talked about is we love to do episodes, just the two of us. Of course, we always love to have our wonderful guests on, but having just the two of us is also really, really nice. And so we were thinking about different things that we could have that are just the two of us. And one of the things, which is what we're going to do today, is discuss health documentary, because this is the So Frickin' Healthy podcast, and there are so many
Endless
things out there that tell you how to be healthier, and there's all these documentaries. And so we thought we would take an interesting documentary. We each watched it separately, made our own notes, made our own thoughts, and what we plan to do today is basically just talk about a particular documentary. It's called Hack Your Health: The Secrets of Your Gut. It was produced in 2024, and you can find it on Netflix. It is based on a book by Giulia Enders, and she is in the documentary, and she's totally adorable. She's adorkable.
Adorable.
Because she's super smart. And she wrote a book several years ago called Gut. And the documentary is about that. So
yeah. And the documentary, I have to say, we're going to rip it apart, but at the end of the day, it was a pretty great documentary.
Yeah.
Really great graphics, I don't know if you call it graphics, but like animation, very, very well made. And I have to say, although we will nitpick here, it's a pretty great documentary for you to watch.
We're going to talk about the stuff where we had questions, like good questions. So we're going to talk about the stuff that they kind of glossed over. Then we're also going to talk about problems
that we had.
Donna had a few problems with the video.
I always have problems. It's very typical. You know, Megan was curious. I had problems. So,
and then the last thing we're going to talk about is poop.
A lot of poop.
A shit ton of poop. So if you're planning to watch the movie, we thought it would be wise to let you know that if you're sensitive to competitive eating, because there's some images, images of competitive eating, or actual
poop
images of poop.
In a blender.
In
your kitchen. In the fridge and in the freezer.
Which honestly, I'm okay with poop. And I thought, wow. So if those two things are not your jam, just know that they are in the movie, and you should just be ready to fast forward through those parts.
Exactly. That's what I did. I mean, I was really bothered by the competitive eating. My finger was on the fast forward button every time they started shoving food in their face.
And it wasn't a lot. It was just a little bit when they were talking about a particular person who was
a couple of times.
Yeah. But for the sake of this episode, we will be talking about poop later on, and we will let you know when we start talking about poop. If that is not your jam, you can bypass that part.
Cool. Now, in order to help you understand what this documentary is about and how to understand your gut and your gut flora, I think we're going to let our adorable I forgot her name. I'm so bad with names.
Giulia Enders.
Giulia Enders. It's just a little soundbite from the documentary of her explaining.
How the gut is like a forest.
And it's something that we both really loved, her analogy
Yeah.
of it. So yeah, let's have a listen.
When my patients ask me what makes a microbiome healthy, I like to compare it to a forest. You can't put a few healthy plants in it and expect everything to change. A forest needs a healthy balance where the plants and the life can be okay with the circumstances, with the light, with the water, with the nutrients from the soil, and function together. Our gut bacteria, they want just a few grams of fiber from vegetables and fruits every day. And it's weird that it's so hard for us to manage this.
Okay, so that was awesome. That was a perfect way to describe it. I found it really, really good. But I really want to talk about my problems because I'm such a problematic child. So within the first, I think, 15 minutes of the video, if I'm not mistaken, the first problem for me rose up, which was they were giving this infographic about how many grams of dietary fiber the FDA recommends versus normal people eat, or standard American, versus how much scientists think we should have. So just to give you the numbers, the FDA recommends 24 to 40 grams of dietary fiber. The average American consumes only 15. And the scientists think that we should probably have 50 grams. Why did I have a problem with that? First of all, I really am concerned for people who maybe have 0 to up to 15 grams of fiber now going and trying to quadruple it. I'm very bad with math, but I assume quadrupling will give 15 to 50, I don't know. That could be a very painful experience for this person. Also, people who have very sensitive guts, maybe some gut health issues, leaky gut, et cetera, they might be suffering hard. All we're trying to say is that, yes, of course, every single person should have more fiber, but giving these numbers, hack your health, have this much fiber, I think could be a little bit risky.
Yeah. And I always think that you tend to overthink that a little bit.
I overthink everything.
But I think that it's a good point because, and that's one of the things when we were setting up for this episode, we always have to think about the audience for wherever you're consuming content, right. Whether it's an article, whether it's a documentary, whether it's a Facebook post or an Instagram post or whatever, you really have to think about the audience and who's giving you the information. We're here talking about a documentary on Netflix.
Right.
Right? And I think they call this infotainment. Uh-huh. So it's information and entertainment. Right. It needs to be entertaining so people will watch it. And so we have to kind of think about what was the purpose of the producers and the director when they made this video.
Yes.
And I think this point that you're making is a valid point, but we also have to take into context that, okay, they're just telling you, this is what the government recommends, this is what people are doing, this is what right. Scientists recommend, without looking at anybody's specific case.
True. But move with caution.
Yeah.
Could have been just a 3-word sentence that would kind of cover that.
Yeah.
Because if we're really talking about gut health, they really should also know, as scientists and entertainers, should really know that there is a big group of people out there that will, my problem is not even that they will suffer in that moment, it's that they will say, no, this is not for me, and they will never try again.
Right.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. It's the all or nothing thing. It's like people who start exercising and then they go out and then they
hurt themselves.
And they hurt themselves and they like, oh, exercising's not for me.
Exactly. That's me. Yes.
So valid point, but you had also another problem.
Of course I did. Of course I did, Megan. My other problem was just this very blanket statement. At some point, one of the doctors said, the right foods to eat. Mm-hmm. And this sounds like there is a list of right foods to eat and there's a list of wrong foods to eat. And if you do it right, you'll be fine and you will hack your health. And if you don't, then you will be sick. I mean, how many people do we know, first of all, that eat just garbage and they're fully healthy and live until 150 and they're smoking their cigarettes and drinking wine? I think that blanket statement, again, could be really problematic because, first of all, I would feel, if I was in a different place in my life, I would feel shamed I would feel like, oh, wow, I have all these issues. I'm just not eating the right stuff. And that might not be true. And one of the characters in the film actually also talks about it. We'll talk about her a little bit. But she was eating healthy and stuff, but she was suffering with everything that came into her mouth. Obviously, there's a deeper problem there. They didn't go deeper into that, but the right food for her is different from the right food for you and for me.
Right.
So that is something to, again, keep in mind when you're watching this. Don't let it shame you into thinking like, oh, I'm just doing everything wrong, because that could also backfire.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, lovely listeners. Are you ready to ditch the diet fads and feel amazing in your own skin? Then you need to check out Organolicious, where functional medicine health coach Donna is here to help you thrive. At Organolicious, it's all about empowering women just like you to take charge of your health, and with personalized support, expert advice, and loads of fun and laughter. Now, whether you want to boost your energy, balance your hormones, or just feel like the best version of you, Donna's got you covered. Stop waiting. Dive into Donna's world of wellness at organolicious.ch and start your journey to feeling fabulous, because you deserve to glow. Check out our show notes for links to Donna's impossibly difficult to spell website link.
Okay, so now that we got over my problems, let's talk about...
Wait, do we ever really get over your problems?
No, never. No. Look, I'm Jewish, okay? It comes with the heritage. I can't control it. But what I want to talk about, which I think is a really interesting part of our conversation today, is what were the things that piqued our curiosity?
Yeah.
What did we want to hear more about?
Yeah.
And that was, of course, coming more from you. I was all like looking for the problems. So why don't you tell us about a few of your...
Yeah. So as Donna said, I feel like what this video did for me, or what this documentary did for me, was really go, oh, haven't thought about that, or why can't you expound a little bit more on this?
Yeah.
So the first thing, right in the first 5 or 6 minutes, they talk about how this new gut health medicine and studies and information that we're learning is disrupting modern medicine.
Yes.
That's what they said. And immediately I'm pausing, raking my note, and I'm going like, okay, but what the fuck about Eastern medicine?
Yeah.
Okay, if it's disrupting modern medicine, and modern medicine is what we would call Western medicine,
Yes.
so not Eastern traditional medicine.
New school.
Yeah, new school medicine. Then what is the status of gut health in traditional Eastern or traditional Asian cultural medicine, where they tend to do more preventative medicine, they tend to be a little bit more holistic, they tend to be a little bit more integrative or health related? Or functional medicine is kind of born from a combination of the two.
Exactly.
And they didn't say, and I haven't looked it up. It's just this open question in my mind, because we hear about traditional Chinese medicine in the terms of like acupuncture and cupping and other things.
There's a whole world food related to that for sure. Ayurveda. I mean, there's
Yeah,
so
Ayurveda.
many ancient
Yeah.
medicines that now people are kind of going like, oh, interesting. But it's been around for decades and decades, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you're totally right. I think that piqued my curiosity as well.
I'm not a Eastern medicine guru or anything, but what I've seen is that there's a lot of stuff that has worked in Eastern medicine for thousands of years. They don't have any clinical understanding of why it works,
Yep. Just
but they know that it works.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that there's a lot in the gut. And Western medicine, or the Western world, somehow our brains, we've been wired to say, if there's been no studies, then how I know that it works?
Right.
It's just woo-woo, fake medicine.
Right.
And I'm thinking like, you don't always need a clinical study to tell you something works. And this is back always when we talk about doing your little study of one. If it works for you, who gives a fuck?
Exactly.
If there's a clinical study.
Exactly.
And of course, there are always going to be like snake oil people out there trying to sell you something that doesn't
in a
work.
bag. Yeah, exactly.
That's true. But I feel in my gut.
Love it.
I feel in my gut that I really want to figure out more what's going on in Eastern medicine with the gut.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I went on too long about that one.
No, it's perfect.
My next one was bacteria. One of the specialists was talking about how people hear bacteria. Again, I'm talking more Western cultures, and with the whole antibacterial movement and disinfecting everything. And I mean, there's a whole bunch of information about that, about how that might be increasing people's allergies and autoimmune diseases and other stuff.
Yeah.
And that ties into what this guy was saying.
Yeah.
He's like, listen, you have bacteria in your gut. You have enzymes, you have bacteria, you have viruses. All the time you have viruses in your gut that your body just takes care of. And there is bacteria in your gut that, quote, quiet inflammation and help avoid autoimmune disease.
Which is huge.
How
can you skim through that?
Wait, where's the whole chapter on this?
Right, where's the whole video on that? And this is the thing. Look, if you're looking for science, for example, just by hearing that, it brings me back to all of the studies that show that kids who grow up on a farm, kids who have a dog lick their face from like age 0, they have stronger immune system versus people who are going around, you know, cleaning their hands with disinfectant all the time and living in this sterile world. We need to understand that we are more bacteria than human cells.
Yeah.
So the word bacteria, to demonize the word bacteria is just a bit silly because you're demonizing literally every single person walking on this earth.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So that one left me wanting a little bit more. The next one was yours.
Yeah. Look.
I
was curious
Yeah, you were
too.
curious. Good job.
Yeah, I found it fascinating. So they were talking about the link between constipation and Parkinson's disease, which immediately to me, you know, I was thinking about my grandfather. He was chronically constipated. It became a joke in the house, but he was chronically constipated. His family side was chronically
And
constipated.
he had Parkinson's?
He had dementia.
Dementia. Okay.
They all had dementia. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Maybe there's a link there as well. Maybe there's a general link to chronic constipation and certain, you know, I don't know what to call it, like ailments that we don't necessarily know. Yeah, there's the genetic aspect, but maybe there's also something like, oh, but if we manage the constipation, there is less chance of you falling down the same route as your family members, which was really, really interesting to me.
But it's also like causation. So is the constipation being caused by the dementia?
Or
You know what I mean? Like as a physical symptom. So if you're like, I'm not sure if I have dementia, and you're like, okay, over the last year, have you gotten more constipated? You know what I mean? Is it a side effect of the dementia? Or is it somehow linked where if you, because, you know, I can see what you just said, like, oh, if you're constipated, you're going to be having dementia when you're older.
No, but what I meant was, are there links? So what I noted down was like, what other correlations are there to constipation and certain ailments? And what are the numbers? Like when they're saying there's a correlation, is it that like 20% of people with Parkinson's have constipation, or is it 90%?
Right.
Right? I mean, like, so that was a little bit vague for me, and I wanted to know a lot more because constipation is just, you know, what we talk about at the dining table with my extended family, sadly. But also, you know, it's very curious. And to your question, I'm stopping to believe that there's a cause and effect. I feel like everything is just so intertwined that we'll never be able to find cause and effect. You
The
know,
entry
like,
point, like, was it this or was it that? It's just so.
It's just like, okay, there's a correlation there. And maybe, again, if we help with the constipation, we focus on the constipation in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Not like my grandpa did, like shoving a tube of water down his butt and like letting it all flush out, but rather like, how do we take care of the chronic issue at hand that will hopefully help us lower the numbers of chance to get a certain ailment.
Yeah. Okay. So the next one in terms of what got my mind going was things actually that were missing completely. So we've already talked about something that they said and then they kind of just glossed over it and we wish they would have gone more deep. But the next one is health-related trends that I thought that they should have talked about, or maybe I would now feel like, how is that connected? So my brain is trying to make the connection. So one of the things was like, for example, the acidity of someone's body. So there's been a lot of studies or links or trials to say, okay, people who have a more acidic body tend to have more cancer. So you should try to eat foods and drink things that help your body stay more basic. Right? And then I'm thinking like, well, but that's about eating and drinking. So how is the gut bacteria in your microbiome, how is your microbiome affecting the acidity of your body? So that was a big question I had.
Yeah.
And then when I mentioned that, you talked about the blood test diet. And I don't remember everything about what is.
No, I mean, there are so many of them, but there is a school out there that believes in the blood type diet, which means that certain blood types will need certain foods, you know, like a certain blood. I know that I'm a O negative. O negative and O positive are more carnivore. They need the meat to really like thrive and survive versus, I think B, for example, blood type, which is more towards like vegetarian, vegan. So again, to your point, there's so much information out there, it will conflict. I literally heard yesterday a podcast where they were talking about how bullshit the acidity thing is, because they're like, your stomach is the most acidic place ever. Like, no matter what you put in there, it's going to be like,
Yeah,
you
but
know.
that's not how acidity is tested.
I know.
In the body.
I know. But what I'm trying to say is there's always going to be someone debunking something, right? And always someone having this like this idea versus that idea. So it is very hard to focus on one, to pinpoint one, and then to give like.
But I think the point is our blood type somehow connected with our microbiome? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, it's like, okay,
What's the chicken, what's the
if
egg?
anything, when we're talking about food, Ayurveda is another one. Ayurveda, they split people into 4 different types, and then they have specific foods, whether you're warm or cool or whatever. And again, it's like, okay, I want to know what the connection is. How is that connected maybe with certain type of gut bacteria? Yeah. So these are just the open questions that I'm just like, I want to know.
We're requesting Hack Your Health.
Yeah, I'm going to
with all
send this
these
to
answers.
Julia Enders and be like, Julia, the next video, please answer all these questions.
Man.
Okay, we only have a couple more here, but the next one was somewhere about 3/4 of the way in. They were talking about the different variety of foods that you need to eat to have a healthy, vibrant microbiome. So if you're only eating white pasta and tomato sauce at 4 or 5 times a week, you're denying your gut a variety of foods. So the gut will change to eat those foods that you're
Change
giving
very
it.
quickly.
Right,
by the way.
in a day or two, right? And as you keep doing that, it's going to, the kind of gut bacteria that needs fruits and vegetables will die off because you're not feeding it fruits and vegetables. And then you will have the type of bacteria and microbiome that thrives only on white bread and pasta. And so what they were saying, and I think that this is, again, it is a blanket statement. I don't see it as a problem though, but I think it's more of a goal people should have.
Yeah.
And because sometimes, and I'm guilty of this as well, of getting into my rut of my red bell pepper, cucumber, and cherry tomato salad all summer.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, that's only 3. So my point is that they said 20 to 30 different types of fruits and vegetables, and they were also like beans, legumes, basically whole foods. Right.
And that's per week.
Per
it's important
week.
To say. Yeah.
And I thought, okay, that's great. But then they didn't really like go much past this. And I'm just like, wait, but what kinds of foods is this? Like, this is
Exactly.
What
so
do we
I'm
do?
turning this into a problem where I'm saying like, 20 to 30 different. How do you apply that?
Yeah.
Again, one of the things that bothered me was like, it was so surface level.
Yeah.
But again,
It's
we're
a 1.5
coming from
hour
a different
documentary.
world. Yeah, and we're coming from a different world, and we already know a bit more. I mean, we're not saying that we don't know everything, but like we know a little bit more. So I think we were itchy to get even more information beyond the basics that they wanted to deliver to the wide audience.
You, my friend, are so freaking awesome for listening to this podcast. If you're a geek like us and want even more good stuff, make sure to visit our website. You can find information about our guests, leave a comment or question about the episode, or even leave us a voicemail. We're so fancy, we even have a newsletter. Okay, ramble done. Go check it out. Now back to the show.
The last thing, and this is going to segue nicely into our next segment, is they made a specific comment on what is healthy for me specifically.
Yeah.
And I just really enjoyed that statement. I kind of felt like they were giving questions and not answers.
Right.
And which, again, to the credit, they can't give answers to what is healthy, what does health mean for you specifically, because it's a documentary and not a doctor.
Right.
If it was a nutritionist or a health care professional, I would be like, what's healthy for me? Okay, let's look at our blood test results. Let's see, even if I'm overweight, I'm still healthy. What is healthy for me specifically?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think this is important to say because I don't know that we mentioned it before. This documentary takes 4 very different people with very different backgrounds, with very different issues that they want to attack, right? So, and they put them on a pedestal and say, okay, what are your issues? What are the steps that we're going to move forward? And they're different. They're very different. So I think although they don't necessarily keep saying like, we're all different, we're all different, we're all different, they tried to show that through showing those 4 people from all around the world, having all different problems, and what is healthy for each individual is going to be different.
Right.
So, yes.
Yeah, I do think that needs to go in the check mark. They did a really good job of coming up with 4 very diverse, gut-issued people.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never even heard of somebody who can't feel hunger.
Yeah.
But it made sense for a competitive eater who's always constantly stretching out his stomach and has to mentally put aside his fullness. So anyway, not to give too much away, because we don't want to rehash.
No, you have to watch it. I feel like they chose the right people because I feel like no matter what situation you're in, you will feel
like akin to one of those people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that was why I really enjoyed seeing different types of people and their studies.
Okay. So one of the things that they did for these 4 people, and that brings us into our next segment, which is poop alert,
Warning,
poop alert.
Warning. Listeners' discretion is advised.
We are now going to start talking about poop. And these 4 individuals, what they did is they started them off with a fecal test, a poop test, to test what the bacteria is. And when we first started watching this video, I'm like, Donna, have you ever had your poop tested? And your response was?
Many times.
Many times.
Many times, yes.
So can you please elaborate on what is a fecal test? How do you do it? They kind of allude to it a little bit in the movie, but how was it for you? Like, what did you do?
I pooped in the tube.
But
no, I mean,
I'm
joking.
How do you poop in a tube? Do you stick a tube under your butt?
You want
or did you
to?
have to?
Okay.
Yeah, no, I want the nitty gritty.
Okay,
if we're gonna give the poop a warning alert, we're gonna talk. Did you have to put the poop in your hand?
No.
Okay.
No, it depends who sends you the test and what they give you as tools. I just like using a small paper plate.
Oh.
And I just kind of like, put it between my legs and I collect the poop and then I put it on, I prepare the space. So I'll put like a towel or something and then I'll put that plate on the towel. I'll finish doing what I'm doing and then I will start scooping it up. Each test will give you different instructions, right?
Yeah.
So shake it, don't shake it, put it in the freezer, put it in the fridge, doesn't matter. But usually there's a tube, usually with some liquid in there, and then probably something, right? I don't know what it is. And then it goes into yet another tube and then a Ziploc bag. So, to be scared of having it then in your fridge or in your freezer, it puts your mind at rest a little bit. Not the ones that open the fridge and go, what the fuck is that? But, for you to go like, well, I did not put poop next to your chicken. But I find that these poop testings are a huge eye-opener because you really do find out a lot about just your gut. Well, again, it depends which test you're doing, but the ones that I did, I really wanted to know a lot more, like, is there leaky gut? Is there Helicobacter, like stomach ulcers and things like that? Is there dysbiosis, which means that your bad gut bacteria overpowers your good gut bacteria? You can find out all of that through relatively easy tests that you can do at the comfort of your own home. And you can also, therefore, apply certain things to deal with the issue at hand, and then test again after 6 months, a year, and see how you're doing, which gives you the hope of like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. Like the dysbiosis is not that big, or the leaky gut is healing, or a million other things that could be found through these tests.
Yeah. I think in the movie, they alluded to almost like a paper diaper or like paper underwear that they put on, and then they went over like loose. And so the poop dropped into like the paper.
It's paper. I had that one also. It's paper that you lift the seat.
Uh-huh.
And it's
and then
paper that kind of
spread
like
out
sticks,
underneath
exactly. It sticks to the seat, to the bowl.
Yeah.
And then you put down the seat again, and you sit down, and it just collects it underneath you.
Okay.
The problem there is that like it shouldn't mix with pee.
Oh.
So usually it's a bit of an acrobatic thing, and it's first thing in the morning usually. So it's interesting. It's interesting. You have to mentally prepare yourself to do it. It's not like, I'm just going to walk in and do my poop test. It's like you got to prepare a little bit.
Okay.
Sometimes you're asked to neglect certain things, if it's supplements or certain foods that might kind of skew the test result. Actually, with a poop test, I don't remember that that's the case. But again, it really depends. Yeah. So different labs, different tests will ask for different things, and we'll give you different props to help you out there.
I have not done a poop test, but I have wanted to do a poop test. And I'm assuming you just get some big report with all your stuff.
You get a big report, yes.
Yeah.
But
But that's what they did for these people. They did this poop report, and then they got on the phone with some of the people who were in the video or in the documentary, the scientists and doctors, and then they just walked through with them to kind of come up with a plan. This is what you can do.
Right.
I think that's great. They also, segueing a little bit into poop transfers, like transplants, and they talked about this mice twin study.
That was so amazing. I loved it. I wanted everyone in the world to just hear about that study alone.
Yeah. So it was a twin study where one twin was...
Human twins.
Was obese and the other one was not. And they didn't really talk a lot about the study, but what they did say is that they took the fecal sample from the obese twin and they put it into a mouse, and then with the skinny twin.
Right.
And the mice, the one who had the fecal transplant from the obese twin became an obese mouse.
Yeah.
And
Which is insane,
It
right?
is. It is insane.
Will never, I don't think 99.9% of obese people out there do not sit there and go like, but it's a gut, like I have probably the wrong gut bacteria, or something is, something is pushing it there. It's always like either guilt or either shame or whatever it is. And I feel like, dude, you need to see this because you need to understand that there is so much there. There's a whole entire world in our gut. And they're pulling the strings, and we need to understand also what those are and how we can help people to not struggle through life.
And then the last part of the poop thing was, so they started talking about this fecal transplant, and then one of the last person that they exposed in this documentary, she had tried so many things and got so nowhere. She could eat nothing almost, which you might know.
Story, but we'll get into it another time.
Yeah. She decided that she would do a fecal transplant from her brother, and she did. And this is where like kind of the gross thing comes in the movie, because they actually show like a frozen turd being zipped up into a blender.
Yeah. Let's start with the poop is coming out of the fridge, and the boyfriend goes like, it's next to our chicken, and then they put it in the blender, and then afterwards they put it in the freezer, and he goes like, right next to the ice cream we're going to eat. So I think his commentary was making it even worse.
Yeah, it was.
But anyways, it's in her kitchen. She's filling up poop.
Capsules.
Capsules.
So she's taking capsules, and she said she would take them, I think she took them both orally and anally.
Okay.
I think maybe it was just anally. I don't know. She didn't really go into it.
No.
It was a very short segment compared to the other 3 people that they did the piece on. But what was interesting about it, in terms of our poop topic of this, is that her brother had acne.
Yes.
And
Bad
acne, and when she started doing fecal transplants from her brother to help her gut biosis, then she started getting acne. right? Okay.
She was feeling better. She was able to eat better. So a lot of things actually got better, but she also got his acne.
So then she tried to do this fecal transplant with her boyfriend.
I mean,
her boyfriend
that's a guy to marry, first of all.
It is, yeah, winner, green flag all the way.
Yes.
He's like, yes.
Filling up the poop pills.
Yeah. But the problem is that she had mild depression. No, she did. She said it got worse when she took her boyfriend's poop because he had more severe depression.
Right.
So she's like, I can handle mild depression and acne. I can't handle severe depression. So she went back to her brother. Right. But they even tell you in the movie, like, do not DIY this yourself. So I'm actually surprised that they showed her DIYing it.
Yeah.
When they said don't DIY it.
Yeah. Well, because
kind of a conflict there, but still I thought it was an interesting thing that they added.
Yeah.
And I think the whole point to drive home is that your ability to do things is impacted by your gut.
Yes.
Whether that's to gain weight, to lose weight,
depression
anxiety, a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty much what we wanted to cover in terms of the three main big areas: problems we had, things we wanted to know more about, and poop. So
and other shit.
So to wrap this up, then we really wanted to tell you who we thought this movie was for. So if you haven't seen this movie yet, my recommendation when I got done watching this, the very first thing I wrote down is that this movie is for people who know absolutely nothing about their gut. And they're like, oh, I've heard this gut thing. I want to learn a little bit about my gut. Right. And they don't want to read a book because the book is really, really great. The book is amazing. I think the book has a lot more information. Sure. But they did a really good job of transferring the information that she was made very readable in the book to a very digestible, understandable documentary.
And very entertaining as well.
Very entertaining. They did all this felt stop motion animation.
Best
oh my
part.
God, it was
Honestly,
so
the
funny.
animation,
yeah.
I was just giddy every time it came back
it
on. I was like,
beautiful. So I think it's for those people. And I also think it's actually a really good movie taken in chunks for children of all ages because of the animations and because of the way they describe things. I wouldn't recommend the whole movie because not everything, like the exposés on each of those four people, maybe not a kid, maybe not really cares that much. But to understand how the gut works.
Or worse, they go like, I want to be a competitive eater.
Oh, yeah.
That looks like fun. I can eat all the hot dogs I want.
So who is the movie not for?
I don't know if it's not for people who are knowledgeable, but take it with a grain of salt because as we experienced it, it was a fun and entertaining way to listen in on new science and stuff like that. But I think it was a bit like almost redundant. Most of the information there was a bit redundant.
For people who have done research in guts.
Yeah.
Like if you have never read anything about the gut, you will find this incredibly insightful.
Yes.
There's so much good information.
Right.
But if
you
have done
some knowledge, exactly, then it's not going to be anything new for you. It's just going to be an entertaining way to refresh.
Yeah. Or if you want somebody else to know about the gut.
Yes, that's why I watched it.
That is a great recommendation for a movie.
I want to see something that I can feel comfortable showing to my clients or telling my clients to go and watch, and I would happily tell them to go and watch this video.
Right, I agree. 100%. Watch the video. If you don't care about your gut, watch the video especially because you will start to care about your gut afterwards. That's what I think is the most special thing is the way that Giulia Enders talks about her gut. Yeah. It's like she's talking about her best friend.
I know, it's really cute.
She's so tender. She's just like, you just want to take care of it.
She's like, I even love my butthole. She's adorable. We said it at the beginning. We're wrapping it up with the same saying. She's super adorable.
Yeah.
And she really does, make it seem like, look, you gotta love every single part, even your butthole. And it's true.
It is true. Yeah. And there's no shame in loving your butthole.
No.
That's where we end.